Today's episode is brought to you by Babbel. Babbel's going to help you learn a new language. Also today, we're brought to you by Honey. Honey's going to save you money online. Now let's jump into this podcast. Hello, everybody. It's time for Ghost and Crendor.
Ghost and Crendor in the morning.
In the morning. Live. Before our recording studio audience. Recording. Wake your ass up. It's up next Crendor in the morning. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cox and Crendor in the morning. Woo! That was the fakest enthusiasm I have ever heard.
Woo.
Woo, yes.
Woo.
Greetings.
How is your life?
My life is fine. I realize that there is a series of moments in my life that keep replaying, and I want to tell you about them, but I realize I think I've said the same story like 5 times.
You probably have, but maybe people have forgotten it.
Well, here's the thing. It's not the same story. It's a different version of the same event.
Okay, well, say it, and then I'll tell you.
Okay, so I have numerous times during this podcast mentioned the fact that there have in the past been moments where some crazy LA driver does something crazy LA, and then I, being just the good-natured soul that I am, kind of brush it off. But because we're forced to be in traffic together for a while, they still think that I'm on their level of crazy. Like I am operating in the realm that they operate in, which is not the case at all.
All right, yeah,
but it's fun
we've had this movie
watching
before.
them. Right. Well, here's the thing. I yesterday was driving around, and this dude, I was headed back to my apartment, and this dude cuts me off, just straight up cuts me off, and I was like, all right. So I tried to go around him because he was going very, very slow, and so I was like, all right, well, that was insane, but all right. So I tried to go around him, and as I start to speed up, he looks at me and then speeds up as fast. Like I hear his car go like as fast as he can. He is pedal to the floor. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just get back behind him. I was like, he's going to play games. I needed to be in that lane anyway. So like, whatever. So then I get back behind him, and he straight up just like slams on the brakes. Immediately slams on the brakes. And I'm like, oh my God. So I almost crash into the back of this man, but I don't. And I'm like, okay. And then he proceeds to drive as slow as humanly possible. Just this, like, it's a 35 mile on the street leading up to my apartment. He's going like 10, going as slow as possible. And he keeps, like, cars behind me are starting to honk, and this guy, like, is literally looking the rear view window at me. So, here's what I'll say. He had a Nevada license plate, and it didn't have anything to do with Vegas, so I know he's, like, from the middle of nowhere, and it's just bitter. And so, he, straight up just, like, kept trying to brake check me, and I was like, fine. So I just put on, shout out to Sirius XM Radio Chill. It is for chill beats, and it's like, that kind of shit. Anyway, put that on, and I just sit there. I'm like, all right, this is a game you're gonna play. I'm 5 minutes away from home. I'm not upset. Like, whatever makes you happy, man. People behind us are honking. They're driving around us, and he's like literally like looking at me. So I just start just bopping my head, just not paying attention to him. I'm like, I'm not going to play this game. If this guy, like, I'm not going to try to drive around him so he can do that thing where, like, he tries to speed up. I'm like, no, I'm just going to follow. It's just 5 minutes. I'm in no rush. This is fine. Yeah. So we turn left down the road leading to my apartment, and he's still in front of me. And then we get to another turn, and he's still in front of me. And we get to another turn. And here's the thing. It's about the third turn that his sassy, I'm looking back at you, what are you going to do about this, starts to become worry. Where now he's looking back at me wondering why I'm following him. And he actually, I could like, in his side mirror, I could see him like looking back more and more frequently as I just continued to follow him. And then the best part is he turns into my parking garage and I just follow right along. And I wait for, and like he doesn't open the garage door and I just sit behind him and wait. because now I know what's going on. I'm like, oh, he's worried. And so I just wait. I don't touch anything. I don't open the garage. I give no sign that I live there. And I just wait. And he like keeps looking at me, and he hasn't opened the garage door to get into the parking garage. And he just keeps looking at me, and I'm just waiting. And finally, he opens the door, and he drives in a little bit, just like halfway in, and I start to follow. And then he continues to move on. The gate starts to come down, and I just move onto the gate, and the gate stops and goes back up. So then he stops the parking garage and waits there, and then I just turn left while he's turning right. And so then I go to my parking spot, and I park, and I look, and he's still sitting there. I think he was waiting to see if I was going to, like, follow his... I don't know what he was thinking. But obviously, he was on that crazy level of I'm going to instigate, and then realized, like, oh, no, I shouldn't have instigated. Thought that I was like, I'm going to kill this man. Which is crazy, because that's what happened with that girl who cut me off as I was trying to go to the office. Roughly the same thing. Yeah. I think I have this look of, like, because I'm so not concerned, they're convinced I'm like, I'll just throw you in my trunk and it won't be a problem at all. Like, I don't know what is... This town's crazy. It happens so often.
It happened with you remember, like, years ago, we were, like, going to the grocery store when I was there, and there's, like, some girl that did something in the parking lot. I don't remember what it was. She, like, cut us off.
The girl who was, like, dressed up as, like, in, like,
Native American
really offensive
attire.
Native American.
Yeah, that's right. She did that. And then she, like, got out, and she was all worried, too.
I think people in this city forget themselves sometimes, where they, like, really want, like, I'm in a car and I'm gonna yell some mean stuff at you, but, like, this area of the city, there's only so much to go to, and we're all going to the same places. So they realize real quick, like, uh-oh. Yeah, and they realize, oh, this guy might say a mean thing to me. I'm like, no, I just don't care. But y'all are just in your own weird world. Yeah, it happened, and I couldn't handle it.
It reminds me, I saw a thing where someone got cut off, and instead of giving the middle finger, they just gave a thumbs down. And someone was like, I don't know why, but that hurt a lot more.
Yeah, right? It's like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Learn to drive better. You should. There are kids on the road.
Yeah. It's just crazy that this always happens to you more frequently than other people.
I mean, there's just more. I think because there's more people in this city, there's the chances of running into a piece of shit just escalate and are higher than normal. But also, maybe because I think I have ADHD. That's my segue. I think okay. It could be because I have ADHD. There's the segue. Doesn't matter. Just roll with it.
All right, continue.
So, I this past week, we had a bunch of new people in the office. It was great. I'm actually running a real operation now to, like, do new things. It's gonna be super fun. But while we were doing all that, I was complaining about how I need people to help me work on stuff, because honestly, I can't. If I'm doing a thing, I can only focus on that one thing, and I will forget all the things. And if I am, like, being given instructions or have to give instructions, I'm terrible with that. People yell at me when I play video games and I don't read the instructions correctly, right? Yeah. Like Jesse just missed it completely. And so one of the people in the office was like, you may have ADHD just undiagnosed. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm just dumb sometimes. And so last night, while I was, like, waiting to set up our wonderful, by the way, Nick Cage stream.
Oh, yeah. If
you missed it, we did a watch party. It was lovely. Yeah. Next time, I think we're going to try and do Con Air. So stay tuned for that.
That's good stuff.
But before we did that, I typed into Google, how to know if you have ADHD. It was really worrying me. Even though I was like, no. I was like, maybe? So I typed in, how to know if you have ADHD. And the first thing that popped up was a YouTube video. So I was like, oh boy, this is going to be good. Clicked on it, and it's a guy, and I'll give you the link right now. It's a guy, and it's called, I don't know, maybe it's called ADHD Test or something.
Okay.
Yeah, the ADHD Test.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And, it's just by a guy who looks like every other nerd on the internet.
Yeah, he does.
Has the exact same hair and beard of every nerd.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, I'll watch this. It's like only a few minutes long, and that's not too bad. So I turned it on, and he's like, yeah, so I'm not a psychologist or I'm not a doctor, and I can't diagnose anything, whatever. But here's the signs. I was like, all right, hit me. I'm gonna go through them, and I just want you give me your honest assessment, and I'll give you what I think.
Okay.
All right. And what it was said is, everyone, when they hear these things, they might have one or two of them, but in order to have ADHD, according to this video, you need to have at least 6 of these.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So, number 1, do you have trouble starting projects? Not thinking up the ideas, not like the pre-work, just starting actually working on the project. And I was a very hard yes. I was like, oh, yeah. I can sit here and think up all the ideas, but when it comes to, like, I have 8 scripts on my desk. I haven't even pulled the trigger on any of them. I will pre-plan something else before I work on a thing that is clearly should be done.
I feel like I'm in the middle on that. There's plenty of things I start and then other things I don't.
So I was like, I'm going to say yes on this. Then, poor attention to detail. For me, I felt like that was a no. I'm really detail-oriented when it comes to things where I, like, get obsessive over them. Like, oh, no, that has to be good. That, like, oh, this thing that we're doing here, edit that, change that, fix that, right?
Yeah, I'd say we're both pretty good at attention to detail because just the fact that we're, like, observing people around us and all the little things that are going on, other people are just like, what happened? It's like, all right.
Absolutely, yeah. I 100% feel like I'm a no on attention to detail. That's fine.
Yeah.
Poor attention to detail? No. Do you have a hard time with or ignore instructions? I was like, yes. Yes, quite frequently. Yes, that is a huge yes for me.
I actually love instructions. I always like following.
If you put instructions in front of me, I like bless pictures that come in things to like build stuff in your home, like a bookshelf or whatever. If there were no pictures and it was all text, I would never build a thing. I couldn't do. If I had to read, if it was like put the right screw, I was like, no. According to this picture, screw M goes in this spot. All right, and I'd be fine. Are you easily distracted and or easily bored or distracted by anything around you? Do you zone out during conversations? This one I had to think about because I like to believe that I don't get easily bored or distracted. Like if I'm having a conversation with you, I'm not going to pull out my phone. I'm not going to, I'm gonna pay attention to what is happening in the room. But if I'm having a conversation with like a business bro about business stuff, or if I'm having any conversation that I'm not at all interested in, I have trained myself to look people directly in the eye and like really focus on what they're saying without actually focusing on what they're saying. Sometimes I'm just like that. And I think maybe that's like a maybe for me for that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't really do. The only time I do that is if it's like they're like explaining like the instructions to a game or something, or like a raid. Like here's how the boss fight works. I'm like, I don't know what this guy's saying. But like anything else, like I don't do that. I can listen to people fine. I can do all that.
I think I'm like half and half on that one. I don't know. The next one was hyper focus. Lose the concept of time focusing on something to an extreme. I think that happens to me.
Yeah,
often.
I would say. I actually know a lot of people that hyper focus. I'd say you hyper focus. I think Sam hyper focuses. He'll play games for like 10 hours and be like, oh, 10 hours have gone by. And I'm like, what?
Right?
Toaster Woman actually really hyper focuses. She like can be looking at her phone. I'll be like, you see that thing? And just like, no answer. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta wait. And then she'll just be like, what? I'm like, all right. But like I can, I have that. I do not have that at all. I can be watching something. Someone's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just watching this thing. Like I do, and I'm actually terrible at focusing. But like not like real, but like I'm not. I can't read a book. Like I can do that. I think I have a normal focus ability.
Yeah, I know I hyper focus. So already I'm potentially at 3. And we're not done.
Right.
We're not even done with this list. Bad time management. Yes.
Oh my
for
God!
me,
Yeah,
100%.
clock that one up.
Yeah, I don't even explain that. That's a truther right there.
I'm probably I'm probably up there a little bit.
Oh man, you 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
My thing is like I'm
a
just
little bit.
Okay, here's my thing is that I'm not like, oh, I lost track of time. Where's the my thing is I always try to fit stuff in. Well, I guess that would be time management. Never mind.
That's bad time management. Yeah.
All right, continue.
Yeah. All right. The next one, disorganized. And I don't remember what they said in the video, but I just wrote down disorganized, and I said no. I'm pretty organized.
Yeah.
The problem is my bad time management. The organization isn't the problem. The bad time management's the problem. I have everything organized. It's getting to the organized stuff that's the problem.
Right. Yeah, I'd say I don't know. I'm like in the middle on that. I'm pretty organized, but I'm not like super organized or anything. But I'm not disorganized.
Yeah. And then over emotional. I'd say no to that one.
I don't know. You get pretty emotional.
Well, I mean, about
the amount of times just that you go on Twitter and you're having an emotional rant on Twitter. All right.
Well, that's
How's it
Twitter.
different?
I think is deceptive because I'm never emotional over Twitter. Like, no, I'm just laying here on my couch or like sitting here at my computer desk and typing off a thing really quick. I never really have emotion behind what I write, but people always assume because I kind of talk how I post, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, all right. I can see that. That makes sense.
I would say I can get salty for sure. And I'll act out salty, but I don't, that's just in video games where I know I'm terrible and I'm taking my anger out on everyone else but myself,
right,
where it really should be placed. And yeah, I don't, have very, if they said you had, what would be the right word? If they said that your emotions were like when you had emotions, it was strong. Like if I'm sad, I will get sad, but I don't get sad often.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not. But like if I'm sad, I'll be like, just let me die, right?
Right.
But that doesn't happen all that often. So I don't know, but I think I'm not overly emotional. And I would say you were definitely not overly emotional.
I would 100% say I'm not overly emotional.
Right.
In fact, I'm like the only emotions I get that are strong are like anxiety. That's about it.
I mean, what's crazy is anxiety isn't on this list. I would have thought for sure it would have something to do with ADHD, but I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, anxiety is just anxiety. It's more of like a survival thing that's overacting.
Sure. I just thought, if they were going to list every single problem that I have, they might as well at least have one or two of yours in there.
Yeah.
It's fine. Next was impulsiveness. Do you do something right after you think about it? Like you're having a conversation, you say to yourself, oh, I should do that. And then you immediately go do it, even though you have other things to do. Yes, 100%. That is the story of my life. I will be like, yeah, when I get home, I'm going to go work out. And then I will come back and do this and this. And then I walk in the door and I'm like, oh, cool. What? There's a package waiting for me? I'll open the package and look inside and be like, oh, neat. And then forget that I want to go to the gym and it'll be 3 hours later. And I'm like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, it's too late to go now. So guess I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow will happen. I'll wake up and be like, man, I want some breakfast. And then I'll just be like, oh, I ate breakfast too slowly. I got to get to the office. Like I can't. That's bad time management as well. I am impulsive as hell. Dude, I'm at 5 of 6 right now. That's not good. This isn't good.
I'd say I'm probably slightly above average on the old impulsive meter.
Are you? I don't know about your impulsiveness. Give me an example. How are you impulsive?
Well, I'll just be like, I want to go do this thing. Like, I want to go to Best Buy or something. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Even though I might be like, I probably should do like make a video or stream or do this thing or whatever. I'm just like, no, I gotta go to Best Buy. And I'll go to Best Buy and be like, that was fun. I'm gonna get Chick-fil-A. They get Chick-fil-A, like, ooh, that was good. Then I'm like, I'm gonna go do this thing. So I kind of just do that.
Sure.
I also notice that's part of the thing that ties into my bad time management. I'm just like, I can fit another like 15 minutes of working out here, and then I'm like, uh-oh. That didn't work out. Well, it did. Like, but you know. You get it? Like the workout. You see what I did there?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
So yeah, no, I've definitely, I'm terrible. That's one of the reasons I'm so bad at like keeping schedules and stuff. I'm like, okay, do this thing. And then I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I feel that life tremendously.
So,
the next one, this is the nail in the coffin for me. Are you forgetful? Did you forget something you were just told? Boy, that sounds like me. I will do that all the time. But that just might be like me getting older. I don't know. This could all just be Jesse becoming old.
that's true, too.
I don't know.
I've always been really bad with short-term memory, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot remember how we started this podcast.
Well, I can remember that.
I mean, I know it's how we always start it, but I can't remember. Like, if you said, Jesse, what was the conversation that you and Crendor had around, do you ignore instructions? Couldn't tell you. And we had that, I would say, 10 minutes ago.
That was, probably like 8-10 minutes ago.
Couldn't remember what we were doing. I can remember the beginning because we do it so much. And we always have a goof attached to it.
Right.
And I remember that we transitioned from me talking about following a guy in his car to this somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But like, other than that, no, it's the minor, like, I can't remember it at all. So that's 6-6 for me.
All right.
But there's one more left.
All right.
Do you have trouble shutting off your brain?
Sometimes.
That might be the one thing I'm very good at. I turn that bad boy off frequently.
My trouble.
I'm like, you know what, brain? What you done tonight?
No, I definitely. Actually, no. That's probably where a lot of my anxiety stems from. That's more of the anxiety question than anything. Because
Right.
you're just constantly thinking about, like, what's this going to do? What's that going to do? I would say I have most trouble with that when I'm trying to go to sleep. Although sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse.
All right. Real quickly. I know that I probably should talk to a doctor. Even though the doctor's going to be like, no, Jesse, you're fine. I'm still going to do it because I need answers is what I need. But
I don't know if they would just be like, you're fine.
yeah, I mean, look, if I've seen plenty of doctors in my life and no one's been like, well, that's like, you should really get checked out. So this probably might be one of those WebMD situations, but you know what? 6? Dude was like, yeah, you have to have 6. And I was like, I have 6. So I know, unless I've doomed myself, I really want to see what's up. Because I'm worried, have I gone through my entire life with an untreated disorder, and I could have been like my perfect self, Crendor, and here I am, like, still a mess?
I don't know. I guess the question...
I don't know either.
The question would be more like, what do you do if you did?
What would happen? Would I become, like, if they gave me a medication, and I, like next episode was like, Crendor, hello. Today I planned out the next hour. We have our segments down to the minute, and we have 3 guests. Like, if I just came back a different person. My laugh, I'm like, quite.
Well, it's
Everything about me changed.
They also said not everyone that has ADHD needs meds. Like, you can also just do, like, you know, the counseling and, like, cognitive therapy.
What if there's a quick fix? What if I just took one pill and it, like, fixed
Well, that's the American way.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I take a pill, I come out the other side like, greetings, everyone.
That's why all those, that's why like, there's so many, like, magazines and things with just, like, how do I feel good? And I was like, well, you got to exercise, eat healthy. And it's like, oh, God, is there, like, a pill?
Is there a pill for that? Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like, can you just give me a shot or something? What do you mean? Work out. Ugh.
Well, speaking of this type of stuff, I was going to bring up a thing, which was just being affected by your environment. Because I realized today it was kind of rainy it was like 70 degrees, and I was like driving, and I was like, dude, this just makes me feel like I'll remember like specific things that I don't like. They're still kind of fuzzy, but I'll be like, oh, I remember I was like 11 years old, and I was playing this video game, and I was doing this thing in school, and I think I went here with my family at this like campsite, and we went camping, and like that'll all come to me from it being like the way the weather is and the way the sun is like lit and all that. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Boy, I don't have that often, but when I do, it does hit like a truck.
I would say I get these moments daily.
Oh, that's not true for me at all.
Like, even I would just be like, walking up some stairs and be like, oh, this reminds me of being at school. Like this thing, like boom. And then I like go away. Like but it's like
any stairs? Like I walked up the stairs and I was in school.
No, boom. It's not just like any stairs. It's like the smell, the lighting, like it's the whole environment you're in. Like for example, I was at the gym and they have like a thing where you can go up and down stairs, and it's like a little it's like a school hallway almost, or not like a hallway, but like a school stairwell. But it's only like one flight of stairs. It's like nothing. You walk up and down in like a second. And so you walk in there, and I was like, dude, school, like, and then I just started like feeling all the memories and like emotions from like back then. I was like, whoa. And then I'm like, all right, well, back to working out. But I get that like I'll walk into Barnes and Noble, and I'm like, dude, the smell. This reminds me of my childhood, like Barnes and Noble, this thing. Like I get that frequently.
Dude, smell.
That's one of the reasons I would just go to the Container Store. I would want to smell it.
Is there a memory attached to the Container Store? Like you're like, I love the smell of plastics, like oils. I don't know. What about that set you right?
I don't know. I just liked it. Like I had no memories attached to it. It was just I walked in there and I was like, dude, the smell just smells good. It's relaxing. It's calming. Like it just I don't know. Just felt it made me calm. And then I used to do that with Office Max. Oh my god, I used to love going to Office Max. Then they closed it. And I went to a different Office Max. Wasn't the same.
And they closed it.
That's the thing. It's like, it's not everyone either. Like, I went to a different Office Max. Didn't have the same smell. Didn't have the same environment. The lighting was different. I was like, this is a trash Office Max. This one should have closed.
The last one I went to, 90% of the shelves were empty. And I was like,
yeah.
Great. This is where we are.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, you don't really need office stores anymore, to be honest. You just buy everything online.
Yeah, it doesn't. Amazon put everyone out of business. It's probably the reason why Jeff Bezos has more money than God.
Oh, speaking of business, so last week I talked about how I didn't want like a VOD channel or whatever, or like a highlights channel. But
can I before you begin?
Okay.
I was on YouTube.
All right. Interesting.
I forgot. See, I forgot what I forgot. I was on YouTube, and I saw a video pop up on my feed that was like, Crendor does some freaking Crendor thing, and I clicked it, and I noticed something that I'm sure you're about to tell us. That you're about to tell us.
I was waiting to see what you noticed.
Oh, I noticed what you're about to tell us, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started a Crendor Clips channel.
I saw that. Yeah, yes, so, I was like, Crendor Clips.
So
look at this boy.
Here's the thing: you have Cox Clips, right? Right. Well, I have Crendor Clips now. I didn't know if I wanted it to be Crendor Clips or Crendor Clips.
Crendor Clips is better. It rolls off the tongue.
That's what I thought. But like, what if someone searches Crendor Clips? Like, then
it'll pop up.
Okay,
it'll pop up.
Yeah, it probably just got put in the description.
Yeah, Crendor Clips. Just be like clips of Crendor. It'll pop up.
So I was like, what do I want to do here? Because I didn't want to put up full VODs, because you could just go to Twitch to watch those. But I don't want like big highlight compilations, because I don't like the compilations and all the text
just
over
actually do what my channel should have been, which is literal clips of like 8 minutes of you playing a thing, the end.
Yeah, so it's like, I was like, oh, I had a good, fun moment fighting Jerry in badminton that I talked about last week. And so I was like, I'm just going to like clip that little thing out and upload it. And I was like,
Yeah, I watched
boom.
you play tennis is what I watched.
Yeah. So then I was like, I had a good soccer moment too, so I uploaded that. Good Pele moment. Then I had a game of League of Legends, got really laggy. And I was like, dude, it's like, I could upload this like 13 minutes. Then I had like I played that, what do you call it game? Peglin? It's like Peggle with Goblin guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I played like a game. My first game I ever played of that, I won. And I was like, dude, that was great. And I'm like, it was like an hour though. But I was like, I don't care. It's like an hour. It's like a clip of the stream. I'll put it up. So I'm just like, any moment, whether it's like 5 minutes or an hour, I just highlight it and just put it up there. And it's kind of like you don't have to watch the actual stream. You get all the best moments. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want. So I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. Smart move. I think it is the way to go on YouTube right now. The next thing I'm thinking about is a reaction channel.
Oh, yeah.
Where it isn't just like reacting to gaming things. I want to react to everything.
But that's
where it's at right now. Reactions. It might just be because I like watching reactions, but I see people do it. I'm like, I could react to this better than this person could.
Well, it's like so Sam was just like, watching 40K lore for the last like 40 hours of his stream.
I'm aware. He'll tweet like, yo, jump back in 40K lore. I'm like, look at this nerd.
What a loser. I'm the guy who's been painting Warhammer for like 3 years. All right, this guy hasn't even painted a miniature. He hasn't even built one.
You know what? It's a smart play, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There's nothing Warhammer nerds like more than watching people get into Warhammer.
That's true.
It's just a fact. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, this guy's going to learn about the Invictus Chloricamecus. And you're like, great. The Mechanicus Adepticon. And you're like, yeah, all right.
You're not wrong. But then I was thinking of that too. I was like, dude, I could literally just have a thing on my stream where I'm like, oh, I'm going to react to this video. And then boom, I just clip that out, put it up on the old Crendor Clips channel. The Crendor reacts to this video.
Yep.
Boom. Got it. Easy. Plus, I think it's easier because like when you make those highlight compilations, it's like so much shit jammed together. It's like not everyone wants to watch every game in those compilations, and it doesn't fit my style. It's like a Zoomer style of all the text being like, what's going on? The text is like flying all over the screen. Like, I don't want that. I don't like that. I like just standard, normal. I sound like my dad talking about what he wants in his phone. I'm like, I just want a phone that I can dial the numbers and call who I need to call. That's all I want.
I agree with you a little bit on... Sometimes I watch some of the videos that people post on the internet for things, and it is so manic. I'm just like, why is it edited this way? What? It's like, if you ever take the time to truly, truly watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, look at how often they cut.
Yeah. The
cuts per minute, actually per 10 seconds of that show, are out of bounds. And it's the same, it's like people's... I think I mentioned this before, but people's attention spans are so out of whack right now that analytically we learned this is so fascinating to me. On YouTube, because doing 5-minute gaming news, you can see 5 minutes like hyper focuses all the details that you miss in a long video, right?
Yeah.
And so for the first time ever, I can see when people lose interest in things. And one thing we learned early on was that if you do not have a cut and move the camera at some point or do something on screen, at least every 10 seconds, interest will drop. Then, here's what's even crazier. I used to end the videos with, all right, well, that's it for the show. Thank you so much, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, please go support Patreon, do this. And we noticed that analytically, the minute I said, all right, that's it for the show, every time drop off would be like 15%.
Oh, yeah.
Huge drop off. And I was like, how do we get people to because we're only running 5-minute episodes, right? And YouTube algorithmically is all about how long people are watching.
Yeah.
So the longer people watch you, the better it is for you. Well, if your videos are only 5 minutes, you don't have the full, like, YouTube just recognizes it at 5 minutes. So if I made an hour video and you watch 15, YouTube's like, this guy's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Even though you barely watched a fourth of the video. And so what I decided to do was, now instead of saying, all right, well, that's it, now I segue into a Patreon promotion, then end the video in the last 5 seconds.
Aww.
And we learned analytically that the number that used to drop by 15% now drops by like 3-4%.
Oh, wow.
I know. Crazy how you can see into the way people's brains work when you have the math in front of you. It was wild. And so I was like, oh, all right. And that's, man, dude, it's all a game. The more I deep dive and the more I look at another great example is thumbnails.
Oh, yeah. Thumbnails are great.
Here's what I've learned. The best thumbnails are ones that, you know how it used to be like you had to grab attention, right?
Right.
Now, everyone does the same grab attention thumbnail. So the thumbnails that really work now are the ones where one half of the screen is a light color and one half of the screen is a dark color. So they contrast so your eye is driven to it. And I was like, well, does that make sense for me? So I went back to some of my videos, and the first one I saw was that World of Warcraft versus Final Fantasy 14, and one side's light blue and one side's dark red. And there's a literal line between them, and it has 1 million views. And I was like, okay. Like, son of a... I'm letting you know. The more I learn, the more I, like, actually care. That's the problem, is I just don't care. But the more I learn as we do 5-minute gaming news to try to really hone it, the more I'm like, this is all about, like, kind of scamming the human nature.
Well, yeah, that's what I love about it. It's marketing and psychology. It's all marketing and psychology, and I love it. That's what I love most about YouTube. I'm just like, dude, this is like, when people complain about the algorithm, I'm like, dude, this is so fun. Like, I legit love playing around with the algorithm. I'm like, what did I do this time? Oh, this one hit. Nice. Okay, what did I do? What did I thumbnail? What did I do here? And, like, I love, like, simplistic thumbnails. Like you had one, I just looked at your thumbnails. You have one from like 3 months ago. It's mouthful of Nintendo, and there's like 20, it's not 20, it's like 10 Nintendo games in the thumbnail and a whole lot. I'm just like, I don't know what the shit's going on.
Here's the thing. And your reaction was what we noticed. That was one of the least good performing videos, performed the least well of all the videos we made. That is a note that we took.
Yeah.
Also, what I've learned is that 2 years ago or something, YouTube kept telling me, Jesse, everyone loves it when you cover Nintendo stuff. Now, Crendor, when have I ever truly covered Nintendo?
I have no idea.
But they kept telling me analytically, it looks like everyone who watches you watches Nintendo stuff. And I was like, that makes no sense to me. And so, as we started to filter in Nintendo stuff, like covering the different Nintendo things, especially with 5-minute gaming news, we realized that Nintendo stuff gets the least traffic. Nintendo across the board gets the least traffic on my channel. And we were like, what does that mean? And the realization that I had to have in a conversation with YouTube was, y'all told me to focus on Nintendo. Turns out the people who were watching Nintendo were just people coming from Gerard's channel because of Scary Game Squad, or coming from like Crendor stuff to watch my stuff, and they did not give a damn about me covering Nintendo. Here is the analytics that prove that. And everyone was like, whoa! And I was like, how come I had to figure this out 2 years later? Like, y'all put me on a course, and it took me looking over the analytics to figure it out. But that's like your job. It's crazy.
Well, I remember just learning about design, and it's like thumbnail design in itself should be simplistic. It's like you should just have the least amount of things to get the point across of what the video's about.
Right.
And so that in itself, you're kind of telling people this is what the video is going to be. Like, it doesn't have to say the title. Like, for example, I looked up gaming news, and this guy has his Gaming Bolt, 667,000 views, 15 graphically mind-blowing games of 2022, and it's just a weird muddy-looking picture, and it just says those graphics. And that's like, someone's going to see that and be like, oh yeah, those graphics. I got to see more about this. You know, like, you don't have to be like, here's all the stuff in the video and the thumbnail. It's like, that's what the video's for.
Yeah. You know, thumbnails have always been the hardest thing for me. Just trying to figure out how to make them work and what to do. Fascinating. And a great example, and this is a conversation that I had with, my little team here, is we did a video about, in the news, there was Summer Games Fest and then a game that got delayed. And so the thumbnail that they made was a picture of me and then Jeff Keighley pointing at Summer Games Fest and then an image of just like a dude that said delayed over it. And I was like, I don't know what this means. Nothing about this says what this is about. And of course it didn't do well. Like out of all the videos, it's one of the worst ones we've done. And it's very easy to see how that all translates. It's super interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's still why I like YouTube a lot. I just think that's fun. Mm-hmm. So
Twitch is Twitch. It's hard to really curate what you're doing unless you just do it every day, right? If you go, like, if you're like Sam, it's not hard to see why Sam has an audience. Sam streams every day, almost every day, for X number of hours, sometimes way too long, but he's a constant. Yeah. And so you as a viewer know you can always tune in whenever it's like his stream time. So it makes sense because that's what it is. Yeah. But Twitch is also like a life soul sucker. Like you have to do it every sing. Like if you leave, they'll find someone else.
Yeah, you go on stage. That's what it is. And then that's why I love the variety. I love doing podcasts and YouTube and stream, like everything, because it keeps me sane. I'm not just doing one thing, being like, just go do this, just go do. Like I hate that.
Absolutely. I cannot stress how just much I love doing shows like this with you or Chilluminati or just whatever, because it feels liberating to not be weighed down by this is my one thing, and if I screw this up, I'm done. Like I can take chances. Thanks to Patreon, I don't have to like worry about YouTube. I can just create what I want to create and be fine, and it works. And then I can take my other time and do other things, like, work on making video games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. It's the best advice I could give to anyone is don't go all in on something. But the problem is, if you want to make it, you have to. Like, it's a catch-22. Like, you have to go all in, but at a certain point, stop doing that. The problem is knowing when and how, and it's tough. I don't think anyone really knows. And if anyone tells you they know and then trying to sell you like a, 30-day become a streamer kit, I'm going to let you know. That's not real. Don't do that.
We were supposed to look into that. I already don't care.
I forgot. Turns out that's one of my 6 problems.
Well, you know what we did forget about?
Oh! I know a lot of you out there are planning your summer travels, and you're thinking about going abroad, or maybe you want to stay domestic, but you want to immerse yourself in another culture. Well, now is the perfect time to start with Babbel. Babbel is the language learning app that has sold more than 10 million subscriptions thanks to Babbel's addictively fun and easy bite-sized language lessons. There's still time to learn that new language before you reach your destination this summer. With Babbel, you only need 10 minutes to complete a lesson, so you can start having real-life conversations in a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Other language learning apps use AI for their lesson plans, but Babbel has 150 language experts that are creating all sorts of scientifically proven, effective learning lessons in languages like German, Spanish, French, Italian, 14 different languages. Plus, Babbel's speech recognition technology helps you improve your pronunciation and accent. In fact, I just said pronunciation, and I bet Babbel would catch that. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel. In addition to lessons, you can get podcasts and games, videos, stories, even live classes. Plus, it comes with a 20-day money-back guarantee. Start your language learning journey today with Babbel. Go to Babbel.com/Cox to save up to 60% off your first subscription. When you go to Babbel.com/Cox, save that 60%. Babbel, language for life. Also, today we're brought to you by Honey. Hey, how do you feel about shopping online? Do you do it often?
Yeah.
Do you do it as much as I do? Because I do it.
Yes.
Too much. How do you feel about having a promo code at checkout? Do you forget about them? Do you not have them on hand? Well, let me tell you, I forget about them often. Thankfully, Honey is there for me because Honey knows what's up. I will totally forget about thinking about coupons and discounts and all sorts of stuff. But Honey is like, what up, dude? You want to save some cash? I'm like, thank you, baby. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for codes is a thing of the past. Waiting for someone to give you a code on a podcast like this, thing of the past. Honey is the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Imagine you're shopping online, one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button appears and it's like, apply coupons? You do. It takes a few seconds. It'll search the internet for the coupon that is right for you. And once you have that coupon, watch those prices drop. I use Honey frequently. It works with so many places, especially if you're trying to buy tech stuff online. We recently had to buy a bunch of stuff for the office, and a lot of them were just straight up drives, like 2 terabyte hard drives. And I saved a bunch of money on that. I saved $15 a drive, which is pretty good considering all I did was press one button. Honey doesn't just work on your desktop. It also works on your iPhone too. Just activate it on Safari, use it on your iPhone, save and go. If you don't already have Honey, you are straight up missing out. So please do yourself a favor. Get Honey by going to joinhoney.com/Cox. That is joinhoney.com/Cox to get Honey for free. All right, let's go to chapter 7. Guys, Crendor, how's that traffic out there?
Oh man, you want traffic news? I got traffic news. It looks like there's a bunch of traffic out there. Really, there hasn't been a lot of times where there's not a lot of traffic, but now we're getting into the end of spring, or start of summer. It gets trafficy. Let me tell you, there's people honking, people following other people into their parking garages. Who knows what's happening? When one person's angry and the other person's angry, or one person's angry and the other person's not angry, or I don't know. There's traffic out there. Back to you.
Thanks, Crendor. Now let's go over to the weather. How's that weather out there?
Oh, man, weather. If you're looking for weather, you've come to the right place.
Oh, good. Good. I was worried.
All right, well, I opened the old Cox Crendor podcast comments section from last week's episode, and I right away found an amazing weather suggestion. Wee-wah in Australia.
Oh, Wee-wah. Right,
Wee-wah.
sure. Wee-wah.
We head down to Wee-wah. Wee-wah, New South Wales, Australia. Whoppy, take it away. Whoppy activated. Wee-wah, New South Wales, Australia. Today, 69 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice. 65 degrees. Feels like.
Nice.
High. 77. Low. 49. Humidity. 78%.
Nice.
Pressure. 30.02 inches. Visibility. 10 miles. Wind. 8 miles per hour. 6:40 a.m. sunrise. 5:16 p.m. sunset. Dew point. 58. UV index. 1. Moon phase. Full moon. 10 day. 77 degrees, abundant sunshine. High, 77. Wind, south-southwest, 5-10 miles per hour. Tuesday, 72, sunny. Wednesday, 67, partly cloudy. Thursday, 66, mostly cloudy. Friday, 69, nice, cloudy. Saturday, 71, partly cloudy. Sunday, 71, partly cloudy. Monday, 71, partly cloudy. Tuesday, 71, 1, partly cloudy.
You okay? Is everything?
Nah, he's probably not okay.
All right. Well, let's go to sports.
Sports. A lot of sports stuff going on. NBA playoffs. The Boston Celtics take out the Milwaukee Bucks 109-81. They move on and they will play the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Over in the West, you got Dallas Phoenix playing tonight, and the winner of that will play the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. In the NHL, Rangers Penguins play tonight, Game 7. Also, Calgary Dallas play in a Game 7. And we had numerous Game 7s yesterday that happened. There was the Boston Bruins losing to the Carolina Hurricane Tampa Bay beat Toronto as the Maple Leafs continue to upset all of their fans. And Edmonton beat Los Angeles. So a whole bunch of wacky, wild stuff going on over in hockey. And then you got your baseball. You got your Yankees in first place with Tampa Bay 4.5 out. You got Minnesota in first place. You got Houston in first place with the Angels only half game out. You got the Mets in first. You got the Brewers in first. And you got the Padres in first with the Dodgers a half game out and the Giants 1 game out. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's sports.
All right. What is our fact of the day?
Fact of the day.
Stalling.
All right, we got fact of the day. Some people have an extra bone in their knee, and apparently it's getting more common.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You can't add a thing like that to the end of a messed up sentence. Yeah, some people have an extra bone in their knee. Like, oh, that's interesting. And it's getting more common. That's threatening.
It's got to be
that
the
mean?
water chemicals, the microplastics, 100%. If you were under the impression that the human body had finished evolving, think again. It turns out that some people have a bone in their knee called a fabella. And while this particular little bone with an unknown purpose was once fading away, over the last century and a half, it's gotten more common. Back in 1875, nearly 18% of people examined had a fabella. That number dropped to 11% by 1918, however. But by 2018, 39% had this mysterious bone.
Flabella is the name of it?
Fabella.
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 Okay. It's just an extra bone. It doesn't do it. It's kind of like people who have like an elongated tailbone. It doesn't really do anything. It just exists.
I guess this thing is just for more stabilization, apparently. Interesting. And now it says it's 39% of humans.
Yo. Maybe it's because, I don't know. Why would we need it?
I don't know. Let's see. Oh, wait. This says, why do some of us have it? Dr. Bertha said that no one really knows because it has never been researched. The fabella may behave like other sesamoid bones to help reduce friction with tendons, redirecting muscle forces, or as in the case of the kneecap, increasing the mechanical force of that muscle, he said. Or it could be doing nothing at all.
Yeah. Or that.
Or it's doing nothing. Apparently, the reason it's coming back, or the theory, is that the better nutrition is making the average human taller and heavier, and this means we have longer shin bones and larger calf muscles. These changes put the knee under more pressure. Because sesamoid bones, like the fabella, are known to grow in response to the movements they make and the force exerted on them, this could explain why the bone is more common than it used to be.
Fascinating. Okay. I mean, I guess that checks out. That's interesting.
Look at that. It's a fun, interesting fact.
You know, look at us getting some answers.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, we got it.
All right. What is our big news story of the day?
Big news story of the day is truly a big news story of the day.
Uh-oh.
Florida man shocked to find 8-foot alligator on front porch. Quote,
just chilling? Just like hanging there?
Yeah, it definitely freaked me out. It's not something you see every day.
I love when you switch over to Florida man voice. It's like, I already know. Like, yeah, definitely freaked me out.
There he is on the porch.
That is, he's
Yeah,
just
that's a big
there.
gator, though.
He's not even bugging anybody. That gator's just hanging out.
He is just
He's like
hanging.
a guard gator, if anything. If you drove past someone's house and you saw that shit, you would be like, that's a guard gator.
Oh, yeah.
That gator was guarding that home.
That's guard gator. He guards.
That's guard gator. They call him GG.
Odessa, Florida. It's not every day that an 8-foot alligator comes to visit you at your front door. Well, maybe in Florida it is. I still don't think it is. It was
No.
It was not the doormat. Ed Ferraro was expecting Wednesday afternoon when he walked out of his home in Odessa. He heard a rattling at the front door and assumed it was some sort of package delivery, but that was far from the truth. Wait, Ed Ferraro? Isn't that bone we just talked about? The Ferraro bone?
I think, yeah. Did we already forget that boy? Oh no.
The Fabula.
The Fabuloso?
Fabuloso.
Expecto Patronum.
Fabuloso. I got up, went out there to go check what it was. Fortunately, I cracked my blinds. Just looked out there. I saw this monster alligator on my front porch, Ferraro said. Definitely freaked me out. Not something you see every day. He initially thought the giant reptile was fake, and he was simply getting pranked. But then I started looking at it, and I'm like, oh no, this is definitely very real. I was just completely dumbfounded. Thankfully, a neighbor driving by stopped her car and was on the phone with neighborhood security guards, who ended up contacting the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. The area was soon cordoned off. Cordon? Chicken cordon bleu. To prevent any unsuspecting joggers or dog walkers from having a face-to-face encounter with the old guard gator. Ferraro said they occasionally see gators in their neighborhoods, lakes, and ponds, but never really near people. Apparently, this one had come from across the street. Why the alligator crossed the road, I don't know, he joked. Ferraro assumed the gator needed a place for shade to cool off. Temperatures at the time were about 85 degrees, and before the trapper could even get to his home, the gator got up and moseyed up back on into the lake, and that was it. I had a bird fly into my house one time. That was a whole other experience and never anything even close to this. They kind of tend to keep their distance from people in this neighborhood. They actually restock lakes with fish to make sure gators have more than enough food so they don't got to go after small pets. State officials say alligators considered a nuisance if it's at least 4 feet in length. And this shitty website just started scrolling on its own. Stop!
Welcome to the internet.
Stop. There we go. If it's at least 4 feet in length, I believe to pose a threat to people, pets, or property. Florida has about 1.3 million alligators that call the state home and are found in all 67 counties. If you're ever approached by a gator, even a small one, you should not handle it because their bites can result in serious infection, and it's illegal without a permit. Homeowners should call the alligator hotline.
A bite can result in infection, not a bite? I'd be more worried about a gator biting me than like, oh, ow, I'm going to get infected.
You like half your hand chomped off and it's infected.
That sucks. Well, you might as well cut a little bit more off then.
Yeah.
Cut a,
Just amputate it for you. According to wildlife officials, relocated alligators often try to return to their capture site and can create problems for people and other gators along the way. This is why adult nuisance alligators are caught. If adult nuisance alligators are caught, they are killed.
Whoa.
If an alligator successfully returns, capturing it again would be necessary and likely more difficult the second time. What the dingus? Now every time Ferraro...
What did they ever do to you?
Yeah, he's just trying to live in his swamp.
The guy is... Yeah, you moved too close to the damn swamp. It's not his fault.
Yeah. If anything, it's the humans' fault. Like, they're just trying to live in their swamp. Humans are like, I want to live in my swamp. And it's like, no, we learned this from Shrek. Get out of my swamp. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just like Hank the Tank again.
He did nothing wrong. Hank did nothing wrong.
Just don't approach it. Don't go anywhere near it. Leave it alone. Let him be. It's his porch at that point. Let him have it, he said. That's the Florida Gator.
That's our Florida Gator boy. Well, I love this photo. I keep looking at it. He is just laying on the doormat. Looks like a guard gator. Just honest to God, if you saw this, you would be like, that guy tamed that gator to protect him.
It really does.
It's fascinating. I love it. It's so good. All right. Speaking of good, Crendor, hit him with the socials.
We've got socials. YouTube.com/Cox and Crendor podcast. All one word. I'll probably make that picture the thumbnail. Because why not? Also, YouTube.com/Cox and Crendor. That's where all the animations are. You can also find the podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. We're all over. Unless we're not. Also, check out our stuff. We got Cox Clips and now Crend Clips on the YouTube. Go watch our clips. We got Twitch Jesse Cox, Twitch Crendor, YouTube Jesse Cox, YouTube Crendor, Facebook Jesse Cox, Facebook Crendor, Instagram Notorious Cox, Instagram Crendor was taken, Patreon Jesse Cox, Patreon Crendor, and the Warhammer Crendor, the true Warhammer channel, unlike Sam Strippin 40K loser. That's it.
All right. We'll see you next time. And as always, to be continued.